What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marv Lat, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Folks, as I adjust my mic, folks, we got ourselves a good video today. I feel good about this one. Definitely didn't think about talking about this before, but I feel like the time has come to address this. As we know, Black History Month recently passed, and we are now in the month of March. A lot of other things are happening, but for us Black folk, Black History Month is basically every month. But BET has done something that intrigued me, caught my attention not too long ago. Let me see when they released this. Yes, March 11th. So this was like basically yesterday, if I'm right. Yeah, yesterday as of when I'm recording this. They released a list of what they believe is the 15 greatest Black wrestlers ever. Now, I didn't even really talk about Black wrestlers last month like that. I really just talked about Elimination Chamber because it was way more important at the time. But I was intrigued by this list because BET is not what it used to be. Let's be real, folks. If you know BET, it has been the pioneer station for Black entertainment for decades. And in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, it was doing its thing. And then somewhere in the mid-2000s, the 2010s, and even in these past few years, it just hasn't been the same. It's just been reruns, random Tyler Perry shows, just random stuff. I don't even watch BET anymore like that. They even have their own streaming service now, which is home to, animated shows from Kevin Hart, introducing the world to people like Miss Pat and other things and more Tyler Perry shows. But they're still just, they're trying to find their way back, but they just don't have the essence that they once had to me. So to see them make a list like this was very interesting. And I wanted to address that the best way I know how with a little segment that if you are new to this, I'm going to explain. But if you've been through this, you already know. It's called Facts or Fuck Out of Here. Now, the reason for this segment is mainly because I noticed that there are a lot of lists such as this one out there in the world, all over the internet. Different lists for anime, movies, TV shows, music, and sports entertainment. So I was like, with so many lists, I want to dissect some of them. I want to see what makes them think about these things because sometimes these lists are subjective. They're not really the definitive answer, right? This person who made the list, that doesn't mean that this is what it is for the remainder of time. This is just what they feel. Now, for BET to make this happen, this is more coming from, I assume a Black person. It says Tyler Tynes. That sounds like a Black name, just assuming. Now, that means I'm getting this from a Black perspective, and this is about to be rated from a Black perspective. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, if you know, and you've been living in the hood long enough, you know the universal slang for you agreeing with something is facts. And the universal slang for you disagreeing with something, especially in the tri-state area, is fuck out of here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at this list, but I'm gonna try to tweak something a little bit. I'm gonna look at this list and I'm gonna see the 15 superstars that were selected. Now, they didn't just choose, just so y'all know, they didn't just choose WWE wrestlers. They chose WWE and AEW from what I see here on the article. So that means they're going through the two current biggest promotions, or the two that are actually televised more within the United States. So we're going to look at that. But what I'm going to look at is not only this time, I'm going to look at if they deserve to be on the list and the impact that they had to put them on the list. But I'm also going to go through if they deserve the ranking that they were chose to. I'm just going to say higher or lower. I'm not going to say any more than that, really. I'm just going to look at a higher and a lower point to see how I feel about it. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get right into that. And let's go ahead and start it off with number 15. I'm going to have like a little, probably more or less have the actual, what they've actually done in their career. Actually, no, I'll just read it out. Let's just go with that. So number 15, they're starting it off with Jazz. Jazz was a two-time WWE Women's Champion. She debuted in 1998. So Let's see here. I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense because during that time period, there wasn't a lot of African American female wrestlers. It was really, from what I remember, it was Jacqueline. It was just Jacqueline. She was doing her thing, and then Jazz pulled up, and you were like kind of cool with it. I thought she was in WCW too, but I guess it was just WWE. But anyway, yeah, at that time, there wasn't a lot of black wrestlers. So I feel like by default, she should get it. But I don't really know if she should be on this list. I guess if you're a young black female and you were watching wrestling and you didn't see anybody that looked like you and you saw her at the time, and by this time Jacqueline had, put herself to the past. I think by this point she was either retired or towards retiring. So yeah, I mean, it does make sense. In the 2000s, I think it was only her. Because even later when Sharmell, Booker T's wife, came, she wasn't really wrestling. She wasn't wrestling at all. So she was a valet. She was a manager, So, yeah, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say yes. Because from the perspective of a woman, and again, I'm not mansplaining, but from the perspective of a woman, if I, like me, as a man, I want to see representation for myself on the screen. So when I see male athletes that look like me, I get inspired. So for a woman, it would be the same thing. So in the 2000s, she was the only one holding it down, and she was able to win the championship twice. Yeah, we could give that to her. So we'll say facts. Let's see, number 14, Shelton Benjamin. Ain't no stopping me. No. Okay. He wrestled. Well, he's still been wrestling. He started around the year 2000 between WWE and AEW. My man is at this point he's a grizzled vet, putting in the work. Look at this: 3-time Intercontinental Champion for the WWE, 2-time Tag Team Champion, U.S. Champion 1 time, Raw Tag Team Champion. That was when they split up the belts, and currently an AEW Tag Team Champion. Unfortunately, he was never able to get the big one, the flagship title. He was never able to make that happen. But one thing we loved about him is when it came to like Money in the Bank ladder matches, this dude was a beast. He always showed out. I think a lot of people would have loved for him to get a WWE title, meaning more like the World Championship, myself included. But for what it's worth, he was dope because, again, there was times where he was just in the mid card, but he made it happen. And he was a fan. Like, people rocked with him. People rocked with him. So he was able to hold out in a world where, black wrestlers don't really get that many opportunities. And he took advantage of the ones he got and carved out a name for himself. So when he debuted in AEW, the crowd didn't just go crazy because it was another person from WWE jumping ship. It was because he deserved his flowers. You feel me? So I'm going to say facts on that too. In terms of ranking right now, I feel like Jazz is cool where she's at and Shelton's cool where he's at. Number 13, Naomi, who is currently about to go on probably one of the greatest promotional runs in her life, turning heel. But she debuted in 2009 in the WWE. She is currently the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. No, not currently, excuse me. She was a SmackDown Women's Champion. She was a Women's World Tag Team Champion. She won the... why am I saying tag team? No, I'm right. She was a SmackDown Women's Champion twice. She was a Tag Team Champion. She won a Women's Battle Royale at WrestleMania, and they're not putting this here. I don't know why, but I'm just going to say it anyway, especially now that they have partnered with TNA. She was a TNA Knockouts World Champion. She was a Women's Champion in TNA. So we got to throw that out there because when she came, she was cooking in TNA and decided to go back to the E. So all that time, she definitely another one, carved out a name for herself, made an impact. And now, like I said, she's about to go on one of the biggest runs in her career. They're about to take the ball with her and make her a heel for the first time. I don't think she ever was a heel before then. I know there was that run she had with Tamina and Sasha Banks, but that wasn't really, I don't know, I was borderline. But it wasn't really memorable. But for what it's worth, again, this is another impactful person because this is now we're talking late 2000s, early 2010s. There was her, there was Alicia Fox, but there wasn't really nobody that was sticking out like that. So the fact that she found a way to keep relevancy, especially when the newer breed of African-American ladies are now coming in, when Sasha had her run, now Bianca and Jade, and then when the NXT ladies probably throw their names in the belt, she still has a place. she still has a place, and kids love her. They want to be her. I see it when she's in the crowd. That's the impact that she can have even as a black person to non-black children. So I'm going to give her that too. And I think when it came to the SmackDown Women's Championship, since they made it like a new belt at the time, she was the first black woman to get that. So I'm going to give her that too. Ranking stays. That's cool. Number 12, Jacqueline. She debuted in 1989. She has won the when it was the WWF. She had won the Women's Championship twice. She was actually a Cruiserweight champion. I don't think a woman's ever won that before her. And she was elected and became a Hall of Famer in 2016. That's what I mean by elected, not for a political run. But yeah, so to do that, I don't know if a woman ever did that before, but to be a woman to win a man's title, that's pretty dope. I mean, Chyna won the Intercontinental title, but I mean the Cruiserweight title. I don't know of any woman that won that. I could be wrong, but that's impactful. And again, a lot of these for our black people is going to be falling under the same answer. When there was a time when there wasn't a lot of representation and one person stood out, that's an impact. So Jacqueline, definitely, because during those times before Jazz even, we wasn't seeing a lot of black women on WWF programming. So for her to get that, yes, maybe could have been higher, but I need to see the remaining 11. So we'll go from there. Number 11, Big E. Okay. All right. Okay. So number 11, Big E. Here we go. So Big E was phenomenal in his run, and he's still trying to find his way back. He's still trying to get cleared by a doctor to make that happen. And yeah, I'm praying for him, man. But anyway, he was the NXT World Champion, and if I'm right, he was the first black person to win the NXT World Heavyweight Championship, if I'm right. I know I'm supposed to be doing my homework, but hey, brother just came from work. If I'm wrong, put it in the chat. But I'm pretty sure I'm right. First ever black guy, because then later Keith Lee got it and other people got it. He was an Intercontinental Champion, Raw Tag Team Champion twice, SmackDown Tag Team Champion 6 times. During his time with the New Day, he won the WWE Championship, World title, the flagship title, making him the 4th black man to win it. The other 3 will probably find their way on this list, I hope. And he also is the 2021 Men's Money in the Bank winner, which also, fun fact, he is the first and only black wrestler to win this briefcase. I am not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. He is the first and he is the only. If you could tell me another black person that won it, I'm not afraid to say I'm wrong. But I don't recall a black person winning that before him or cashing in. So he is the first black person to win that briefcase and cash in successfully too, I might add. So, yeah, I'm cool with this at 11. Maybe, I mean, you could probably put it, because he was the first to do something, you could keep it right there. But, yeah, he had a hell of a run in the 2010s. He was dope. I loved watching him. I felt bad when he was going by like solo, but then once he got to the New Day, it was the push he needed, and it made an impact again in the 2010s. Even when you have more wrestlers of color there, he was able to make a name for himself, singles and with a team. So that's getting facts too. I can breeze through these, ladies and gentlemen. I don't got to sit here and give you the whole spiel. Number 10, Devon Dudley. Interesting. He started in 1991, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what's funny. They didn't put that Naomi, unless I'm bugging, they didn't put that Naomi won the TNA, that she was the champion, but they put what he did in, they put what he did in TNA. That's why I was like, yo, that's kind of wild. Anyway, so let me just go through again what he did, because I just felt like that's kind of crazy for them to do that. Sorry, a little side note. Okay, so it says here that he was 2005 All Japan World Strongest Tag Team League winner, ECW World Tag Team Champion 8 times, I might add. He won the NWA World Tag Team Championships. He's won the TNA World Tag Team Championships twice. TNA, he was awarded TNA Tag Team of the Year. He went to the TNA Hall of Fame in 2014. He won the WCW Tag Team Championship. He won the WWE Tag Team Championship. And then he was a WWE World Tag Team Champion 8 times. But Devon, to be like this whole dope black and white tag team, like I got a friend, shout out to my boy TJ. We played beer pong one time in a tournament with some friends. We went out of town and we won the whole tournament by calling ourselves the Dudley Boys. And we envisioned, we had the confidence of the Dudley Boys. We was singing the testify, my brother, ooh, get the tables. We was doing all that and we won. We won some money. We came up that weekend. We was good money. So it shows you just how much of an impact not only that he had for a black audience, but for non-black audiences as well. He is beloved. He's a Hall of Famer in the WWE. He's a Hall of Famer in TNA. I don't know why they didn't put that he didn't win the Hall of Fame. Getting to the Hall of Fame in the WWE, but whatever. Anyway, and I remember, and you don't realize what he's done for the younger generation because there was a time where he was Reverend Devon, the Reverend Devon angle that he did, Pastor Devon, whatever you want to say, when he was going around trying to get tithes and he wasn't getting the money, he was beating people up. He had an enforcer to beat people up. What was that enforcer's name, you ask? Well, that was the honorary Deacon Batista. So it's not to say that he put Batista on and it wasn't for him to be no Batista, but it was to say that he helped Batista just get some spotlight so he could evolve into the star that he became. So, yes, in terms of a tag team, 100%. Maybe his singles run wasn't the greatest, but in terms of a tag team, the impact was there. And a lot of people be saying I look like him. They need to stop. So facts. Ranking wise, I'll say that because he's a legend in the game. He's done so much. Yeah, I'll say that he can stay on there. I will say that. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. So I'm cool. I am cool with that. All right. So that was number 10. Now here's the rest of the top 10. Number 9. Here we go. More current. Bianca Belair. So she graced our presence in 2016 in the WWE. Since then, she's gone on to win the Raw Women's Championship twice, SmackDown Women's Championship once, Tag Team Champion twice. She won the Women's Royal Rumble, becoming the first African-American woman to ever win a Women's Royal Rumble. And this is her 9th Women's Triple Crown Championship in history. I didn't even know that. Okay, so that's a lot to unpack there. So she's been wrestling for years, and when we was in NXT, people started loving her when she came to Charlotte and was like, you don't even go here. Like when she was doing all of that stuff, people was loving that vibe about her, and it sucked that she never got the NXT Women's Championship, but it paid off hugely because of the fact that when you watch WWE now, she's box office, baby. Like, look at that. Like, she's going through 2 storylines at the same time. She's trying to focus on winning another world title at WrestleMania versus Io Sky, or possibly Rhea Ripley, but right now Io Sky. And she has to deal with the fact that Naomi, one of her best friends, beat up her other best friend, aka tag team partner, Jade Cargill. And she has to handle it the best way she could. And she inspires a lot of kids today to be the best they could be. When you look at it, I'm going to put it to you this way. It is almost comparable to John Cena, the way Bianca Belair is wrestling when she's a good guy. Now, I don't know if they're going to change her to a bad guy, the heel turn. I don't know. But for right now, it is inspirational. The way she inspires kids. She had a WrestleMania entrance where she came out and there was little kids around her just doing the twirling of the hair and stuff. And she uses her hair as a weapon, and she doesn't get disqualified. So that's cool with me. Impact, 100%. Because she is the impactful black woman for this generation of wrestling. There's a little kid right now who's going to grow up and remember the achievements that she accomplished for her and her people growing up. So you got to give her that. I'm liking the way this list is moving so far. I have a few key issues, but we could talk about that afterwards. But I'm going to say facts. And the ranking, I'd probably maybe move her below Devon and put her in the top 10 still. As I would go. Number 8, Bobby Lashley. Yo, so Bobby Lashley pulled up in the WWE around the year 2000. Been in there ever since. He's been in and out. You know what I'm saying? He was AEW Tag Team Champion currently. He was an Impact World Heavyweight Champion in TNA. I don't think he was the first black guy to do that. No, Booker T definitely, I think, did that. Anyway, but I could be wrong. Anyway, he won that joint 4 times, so he might be the first to win it multiple times. He was a 2-time ECW World Champion, and that wasn't during the Paul Heyman born and bred ECW. That was the Vince McMahon feels like being petty ECW. He won the WWE World Championship twice. He was the second African-American man to win the WWE World title more than once. He was an Intercontinental Champion twice and a 3-time United States Champion. Now, Bobby Lashley is a dude that could stand up 10 toes down to Brock Lesnar, a monster who they always push to be a monster, and he was the one that was like, I hunt monsters, baby. I work for Capcom because I'm a monster hunter. Bars! So he made that happen. Would I say he was impactful? He could be, because this guy, he did a lot of superhuman stuff, man. This dude was jumping through cages and cage matches and just lifting people. He had a lot of superhuman, and you didn't really see a lot of that with black athletes. You had Mark Henry, you had Farouk, you had different guys here and there, but what he did was something real. And WWE never really gave him a lot of the respect he deserved until COVID, when they didn't have much to work with. So by default, they were willing to give him a push that he really deserved many years ago. And it wasn't his fault, but he took one for the team and fought on behalf of Donald Trump many years ago at WrestleMania. I don't think that's something he chooses to sit and brag about, but, he could always just be like, I defended the president's honor. Not the president you want to say, but whatever. It sucks that he did that, and a few years later, Obama got in the office. I know he was like, but I'm going to say facts. But impact-wise, I feel like he probably should go down 2 on the ranking. He should probably be number 9, maybe number 10. Not knocking him, but I'm just saying, Bianca's impact and Devon's impact was a little bit strong on the black culture. All right, next, Ron Simmons, a.k.a. Farouk. Now, this man's been wrestling from 1986 to 2010 within various different companies, including WCW and the WWE. He was a World Heavyweight Champion with WCW. He was the first African-American man to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Altogether, actually. I don't even think there was any other promotion that allowed a black person to win the title until Farouk pulled up. He was a WCW World Tag Team Champion. During the WWF era, he was a World Tag Team Champion 3 times, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012. Not elected, inducted. So he did a lot. And just the impact alone of being the first man to carry a world title, one of the first to is real. And if you're watching WCW at that time, you're like, man, WWF didn't even try to do that. Vince wasn't even trying to do that because Hulkamania was so strong that he was only going to build it around the people that was rocking with Hulk. Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, different people, but not any black people. And it was cool to watch. They threw a Mr. T and stuff like that, but you wanted to see somebody like this win this award and this title and wear it with honor, you know what I mean? And his Acolyte era, when it was APA and all that with JBL, oh my gosh, such a fun vibe, man. This dude is a legend, and he deserves every bit of it. Even now, he comes on the screen just as an old man and just waits for it, and just says, damn, that's funny. So I'm going to keep him at 7. I want to see who the other ones are, but I'm going to keep him at 7. I'm going to say facts. So everybody's been facts so far. I'm not going to hold y'all. Number 6, the Junkyard Dog. I like this. He was wrestling from 1977 to 1993. He's WCW World 6-Man Tag Team Champ. Wow, I didn't even know they was doing that back in the day. I was fire. WWF Wrestling Classic winner. That also sounds fire. WWE Hall of Famer in 2004. He was a Mid-South champion 8 times, Mid-South Tag Team champion 8 times. So he's done a lot. He had a lot of success. And he was one of those few black wrestlers that you saw in the WWF because there wasn't a lot going around. He was involved in WrestleMania matches. He was doing things. And he made it happen. So his impact in the 80s was just as strong. And for black people, it's like, this is as close as we're going to get to a black Hogan anyway. So not one that's calling us the N-word. But I'm going to take that. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say facts. My man would put chains around his neck and just crawl on the floor and be like, "Har, har, 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 har," and just be crazy. This was the wrestling DMX without all the guttiness. So facts on that. All right, top five black wrestlers of all time according to BET, Black Entertainment Television. Okay, number 5, Sasha Banks, a.k.a. Mercedes Moné. She was wrestling since 2010, at least from when we saw her. So far, let's go backwards here. She is right now. It's a lot going on here. AEW TBS champion, NXT Women's Champion, which I believe she was the first black woman to win that. WWE Raw Women's Champion 5 times. Oh, that's another wrestler. She was the first black woman to win that too. WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. I think she was the second black woman to win that. WWE, Women's Tag Team Champ. She was the first black woman to win that. Grand Slam Champion, first black woman to do that too. And currently she has a lot of different titles with New Japan, AEW, Ring of Honor. It's like she's all over the place. She got like 4 belts. The lady walks around with 4 belts. First off, this is why I'm going to say facts for Sasha Banks. I'm going to respect this because it's Women's History Month and we just had International Women's Day. I'm going to respect all of that. I love this woman's passion and her drive and the fact that she bet on herself. Look at what I'm doing right now. This is betting on yourself, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how many views I'm going to get after I release this video, but I'm betting that I just keep pushing until one day a breakthrough happens. And that's what she did. She was wrestling in WWE for so many years. She got the pushes, but for some weird reason, every time they gave her title reign lasted like a month or so. It was very short, and she would lose it to all of these other women. And, let's be real, most of them are white. And she kept losing. They never really gave her the break that she truly deserved to be one of the main women out there. They pushed Becky Lynch and Charlotte and Bayley and all these other women, and they ain't really give her the love she deserved. So when she finally felt like she was in a good place that she could stay content and just flow with the company, Vince put her in a position where she was like, nah, I'm not feeling that, fam. That's corny. And she boogie. And now she bet on herself outside of WWE, and she's making history. She's getting paid what she wants to get paid. She's making the shots and decisions. That's impactful. That's impactful for anybody of any race, any generation, any ethnicity, doesn't matter. Any age, it is impactful because that's the truest definition of betting on yourself. She went to another company, didn't know how they was going to utilize her. She called the shots, and now she is the CEO that she always says she wants to be, and she truly is. She lived up to her word. She bet on herself, and the bet paid off. For that reason alone, I'm putting her right in the top 5. I'm keeping it facts because when it came to black women, especially during the mid-2010s, she was the only one putting in work until Bianca Belair found her place in the sun. Legendary. Boss moves, CEO moves. Congratulations, sis. You deserve everything. So here we go. Top 4. Number 4, Mark Henry. All right. He was wrestling from 1996 to 2018, where he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was a world heavyweight champion, or I remember when he got that first one, so epic. ECW champion, European champion, and that was it. I thought he won more. He didn't win no tag team titles or nothing? Huh. Okay. I could have sworn he did. All right. Anyway, with that being said, Mark Henry definitely is also an inspiration. He is one of the world's strongest men. I remember he won that years ago too, which is what led them to want to put him in the WWE. I think he won the Olympics and stuff. He did a lot before he became a wrestler and then became a wrestler. And ever since then, we've been loving to see this man, just the strength that he possesses and the feats of strength that they allow him to possess in the WWE. And I remember that epic heel turn where he made this whole fake retirement speech. John Cena came out and hugged him. Then he slammed John Cena. It was so amazing because nobody saw it coming. I even thought, I was like, damn, he gonna retire, man? Hell of a career. Would I say that he is top 5? No. Was he impactful? Yes. Not top 5. I really think that Farouk or Junkyard Dog should probably have moved up maybe on there. So I would say facts to him being on the list, but he shouldn't have been ranked so high, in my opinion. He's done a lot, don't get me wrong. But over some of the other impactful achievements like Sasha Banks and others, he should probably switch spots. Number 3, Kofi Kingston. SOS. Kofi Kingston is another one that is not about betting on yourself, but it's about believing in yourself. Because he kept fighting through everything. Injuries, bad storylines. The guys from Ghana, West Africa, they made him be a Jamaican for the good part of his career, the earlier parts of his career where he was young and high flying and doing all types of stuff. And once they finally let him be himself, he was the guy that we now love. So he debuted in 2006 with the whole Jamaican moniker. He's won the WWE title, which I saw live and I almost cried. He was the Intercontinental Champion. He was 3-time U.S. champ, 6-time Raw Tag Team champ, 7-time SmackDown Tag Team champ, won the World Tag Team champs when they combined them, and he's an NXT Tag Team champion. So he's won every Tag Team championship you could think of in WWE, which is amazing. I don't know if any other black person did that. This man, I'm not going to lie to you, his impact is amazing, especially what he's done for his people in Ghana and other places. And after you see him pull up, I see they getting a lot of other different like African wrestlers pulling up. I've seen Omos, I've seen Obafemi, I've seen different ones pulling up now. So it's like the little wave is coming. And I feel like he had some contribution to that. What the New Day did, again, and this is an example of not giving up, but it's also an example of betting on yourself. When he had nothing going for him in the storylines, and Xavier Woods in the same boat, Biggie in the same boat, they pitched the New Day, and they made it work. And it became one of the greatest tag team factions ever. Like, the history they made is nothing short of epic. And I loved every bit of it. I'm not too keen on a heel turn now, but if it grows into a tag team title run, I'm cool with it. So with that being said, I'm going to say facts. He deserves me on this list. I wouldn't. Top 5 is a tough call. Top 10, yes. Top 5 is a tough call. I don't know if he should be that high. All right. Top 2 wrestlers of all time in the black generation, in the black community, according to BET. Number 2 is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Number 2. I was really thinking he was going to be number 1. Oh my gosh, I know who number 1 is. I think you do too. But number 2, okay. All right. He debuted in 1995 and been wrestling on and off ever since. 2-time WCW World Champion, 8-time WWE Champion, 2-time Intercontinental Intercontinental Champion, 5-time Tag Team Champion, the first African American man to win the Royal Rumble. I'm pretty sure. I don't think any other black man won it before him. Back in the year 2000, and I don't even know if any black man won it after him, if I'm right. 6 men's Triple Crown win. That means you won pretty much all the main World Championship belts. And at some point, he'll be in the Hall of Fame, just not right now. I mean, this is facts altogether. I really thought he would be number 1, but there is a reason I also would keep him off as number 1. Is because, and let's be real, a lot of us didn't know he was black for many of years. And that's not shade. It's just being real. A lot of us didn't know about his past. We didn't know that his father is black unless you really was watching wrestling back in the day like that and you saw his dad come out and there's this black dude and you're like, oh, okay, this is real dad. You didn't know. The whole time he kept pumping his Samoan heritage all the time. So you just thought, okay, he's Samoan. You didn't know that he was half black. So when you see him and then you see his daughter is also black. But you didn't know this. You know it now with his daughter because he openly said he's black. But you didn't know it before. It was to the point that we all thought, The Rock, the first black man is going to be Kofi Kingston to win the WWF title or WWE world title. And Booker T had to shut it all down and was like, The Rock is black, y'all. He is the first one to win it. He's black. He's the first man to win the WWF or WWE. I don't want to get him in no lawsuit. WWE World Heavyweight Championship. He's the first one. And I'm cool with that. And he did have an impact because at the time, before I knew he was Samoan, and before I did assume he was black because he was a light-skinned dude. But then he kept being like Samoan and had the tattoo and all this other stuff. So I was like, all right, it's just a Samoan dude. That's cool. I ain't mad at it. But looks could be deceiving. Remember, Yokozuna was supposed to be a Japanese sumo wrestler for many years. Then you find out off the clock he's just a Samoan brother, which is like whatever. Play your part. You know what I mean? But I really thought that, and I think that's what probably held them back from being number one, because the impact The Rock had, let's be real. I mean, he could come back now and still shut the game down. And I'm not saying in a wrestling sense, I'm saying in a promo sense. He could still come through and do a promo and the crowd will be like, oh, this is crazy. So he still gets that love. Homie be coming on TV and just improvising, just be making stuff up, freestyling. They don't land the way they used to back in the day, but it still be kind of cool because it's him. So that's why I'm like, he is an argument to be made that he should be number one over who is number one. But it's tough to say, man, because, again, for many years, we thought we were seeing this Samoan light-skinned dude just walking around. And when you look at where we at now, his whole bloodline and everything is all Samoan dudes, right? It's really just him and, what's her name, and his daughter. That's half Samoan, half black. And there's other random Samoans that are pulling up out of nowhere, you know, not half Samoans, but like there's other Samoans that I didn't even know. Like JC Jane, I didn't know she got Samoan in her. Dakota Kai is Samoan. So there's different ones, Bronson Reed, like that are pulling up. And you're just like, oh, all right, bet. Even Jacob Fatu might be half black. It's just because he got goon energy, but I could be wrong. So he deserves to be on the list. It's arguable to say if he's the one or the two, but I'm cool with where they have him. And number one is my man, five-time, even though he won the world championship 6 times, WCW champion, Booker T. Man's been wrestling since 1989 and left the ring in 2012 full-time. Came back a few times, wrestled a couple matches, but let's look at this resume, man. TNA World Tag Team Champion, 5-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, 10-time WCW World Tag Team Champion, 6-time WCW World TV Champion. He's won the WWF World Heavyweight Championship once. When was that? And he won the World Heavyweight Championship, which was their WCW title, once. He was a United States champion, Intercontinental champion, 2-time hardcore champion, 3-time World Tag Team champion. He was the 2006 King of the Ring, making him the second African-American man to win the King of the Ring. First one being Mabel. He's a Grand Slam winner, meaning he won all the belts. Triple Crown winner, meaning he won all the world titles. And he is a 2-time Hall of Famer, winning it once, getting inducted by himself in 2013, and then later in 2019 with his brother, Stevie Ray. Whew, that's a resume. That is a resume. And that's probably why it's more impactful, because he made a name for himself in WCW. He went to WWE, made a name for himself, went to TNA, made a name for himself, went back to WWE, made a name for himself. And now he's doing announcing, and he's really good at broadcasting. He made his own separate promotion called The Reality of Wrestling, which helped us fall in love with a young lady named Roxanne Perez, as well as others, but definitely Roxanne Perez. And, I mean, come on now. We didn't have to, I didn't have to guess if he was black or not back in the day, like I did with The Rock. And again, that's no shade to The Rock. This was the funniest, most charismatic, most energetic, most entertaining African-American wrestler on television, period. You could get intimidated by Bobby Lashley. You could have fun watching Shelton Benjamin do that whole stunt where he was with his auntie or mom or whatever. You could be amazed by Kofi Kingston's high-flying stuff when he was saving himself in the Royal Rumble. But it was nothing as more consistent as Booker T, whether he was a heel or a face, every single time he showed up on your television. There is nothing more funny than watching Booker T now as a commentator, and he's like, shuggy duggy quack quack, or when the women NXT wrestlers come out and he's like, oh God, like there's nothing better than that. Booker T was one of the best wrestlers I ever liked watching, and as a black kid, I'm not gonna lie, I was an on and off part-time wrestling fan back in the day. One of my friends growing up, he watched wrestling a lot, and he watched WWF more than he watched WCW. So you The Rock wasn't out just yet. So you just saw like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. You saw a few here and there. And then when I actually started watching wrestling on my own in 97, 98, that was when I saw Booker T and Stevie Ray. And they connected with me real quick because it was two dudes. They was from the South. They was country boys. And they was just like, man, you see this here? What's going on, sucker? Like, you saw stuff like that. You were like, that's kind of funny. And ever since then, every time I saw him, whether he was doing a spin-a-rooney, whether he was doing this, whether he was saying, tell me he didn't just say that, whether he was getting chased out of a supermarket by Stone Cold, chased out of a church by Stone Cold, or any other crazy antic that he did since then, it made me keep watching wrestling for a while. It really did. Even when storylines were stupid, you still wanted to watch for him. In TNA, one of the most memorable things was him walking around the ring, beating people up while on commentary. He was like, he tried to hit Booker T, but Booker T hit him back. Wow! Like, that's funny. And he tried to be like some African prince in TNA, which I don't know. But that's what we want. You want to be entertained. You want this guy to be a character, to be stupid, but charismatic, and he could wrestle. So I got to give him that one. I got to give BET this one. I'm not mad at this list. I wish they could do better as a channel, but I will be content with this list right now. I'm going to say facts to everybody. Yes, there were some arguable rankings, but the list was solid to me. And I'm being a little biased because I'm a black dude, but the list was solid. If there was any other person, honorable mentions, maybe Jade Cargill, maybe Swerve Strickland, maybe. And just a maybe, you know? Like, maybe, because they are, you know, Swerve Strickland is the first black AEW world champion, but he ain't really make much of an impact he tried. WWE didn't really give him the right direction. So that's why I said maybe. Jade Cargill as well, because she had a good run at AEW, and she looks like she's poised to have a good run at some point in WWE, but it's hard to tell. And then there's other future come-ups, like Obafemi looks like he's going to one day be on this list. So Ruka has a chance. Yes, she is black. Don't be surprised. She has a chance, you know, right now. And I could be missing some people. But right now, I feel like, yeah, there's time. There's opportunities. And we're going to see what happens from there. So there's some people that they might have missed. But for right now, I feel like this was a pretty good list for what it was. And I can't be mad at that. So, again, as always, you can catch Nerds in the Hood online using the link tree in the description below, you know, when you read it. You can log in to that link tree and check out where we are at on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, so much more. Check us out, people. We got a lot of things brewing in the pipeline. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. Let's do it. Peace.